The San Francisco 49ers have won their 5th straight game over the Seattle Seahawks. Let's talk about it. Welcome, everybody. Let's go, Niners. My name is Jason Aponte. I'm Jason Aponte. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. The 49ers beat the Seattle Seahawks 28-16 for the 5th straight time, the first time in Pete Carroll's tenure as a coach for the Seattle Seahawks that his team has lost 4 games in a row. And now there's a new dominance in town. Seattle, you can take the high road and say, well, you're just happy because it's hard to win games. How's it fucking feel now that you know you can't beat us? How does it feel? Because it feels great for us. There's a new dominant team. And what comes around goes around. You're not like that. Not Drew Lock, not Geno Smith, not DK Metcalf. You can't beat us. I kind of wanted to talk about something that I was really impressed in this game about. Obviously, I believe the San Francisco 49ers were going to win this game. But it's important that the 49ers won a game in which they didn't blow someone out, right? Not an avalanche, not things going their way, right? Interceptions, little miscommunications, they score, the game has some injuries, all of those things. The 49ers needed to win a type of game like this because it's a divide between the two teams because the San Francisco 49ers are clearly better than the Seattle Seahawks, but it's the game and how you won it. Every game the 49ers have won, they've just completely blown people out. In this one, you had a turnover, you got injuries, you got missing players. You have to find ways to win games. And eventually the levee's going to break. But I think right now, this and the Tampa Bay game are probably the two closest games that are games that you can consider close for a bit. The 49ers found a way to win, and they have to continue to win games in this fashion because that's how you're going to have to win games in the playoffs, and especially when the opponents get tougher. So it's really cool to see them find a way to win this game in which they had an interception early in the game. They had a fumble by Ayuk on the back end. Hargrave left the game. Greenlaw left the game. Mooney didn't play at all. Mooney was out there for a few snaps, it felt like, and then was gone. It's important to see the way that they won this game because it wasn't a clean game and it was a weird game. But you have to find a way to win these weird games because things aren't always going to be that way where you blow people out by 30 points. I had this game 31-17. It ended up 28-16. Pretty close enough, but close is only good in horseshoes and hand grenades, right? I think that's the same my father says. But it's good to see the 49ers find a way to win one of these grimy games that isn't going your way, and you have to find a way to get it done. So for me, that is the overarching theme that I'm going to take away from this game. And that's not me being super optimistic. It's really being realistic because games like this are going to happen the further you go along, the further that you get into the playoffs, and obviously you're going to be facing the better opponents. So you have to be able to kind of show everyone else and yourself that you can win games like this. We got a super chat. Let's get it going, guys. Shout out to everybody in here. Almost 140 people in here. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel. Ryan Reed, shout out to him, man. Always showing love. I love provoking anger management, boy. Love it. Yeah, you know what's funny is Fred Warner definitely slid on him on the end, but it's always the second guy that you see, not the first guy. So it is what it is at this point. So again, I think the biggest thing to take away from this game is it wasn't perfect. It wasn't pretty, but they won. And I think that is how everyone should view this win, regardless of the opponent, because you have to show that you can win these types of games, and the 49ers have struggled to do that. I would put the Tampa Bay game and this game in that same category of it wasn't always pretty. There was times where things got hairy. It definitely has some injuries in it, and you've got to find a way to walk away with a victory. So that's the way I'm going to view it. Obviously, everything is easier to break down when the team wins. Everything feels better when the team wins. Little things can go by and get fixed. when the team wins. When you lose, it all gets magnified. But for now, I want to walk away from this game thinking, man, the 49ers don't need it to be perfect, right? They didn't score 30 in this one. There was definitely plays left on the field. Players got injured. There were, turnovers in this game, but you found a way to win. You found a way to win. And I think that is something that's important, is very important. Let's see. Keith Murphy says bird hunting is going pretty well. Yes, the Arizona Cardinals. Let me see. I don't think I pulled it up because it just went away. I'm sorry. We're getting a bunch of comments. I'm sorry. I apologize. Bird hunting is going pretty well. I would say so too, Keith. And then you have to look around the NFC West. Obviously, Seattle loses. Shout out to the Baltimore Ravens. They got to win. But man, was that game a little bit more telling than I thought it would be? The Los Angeles Rams gave them everything they can handle. That was probably one of the better games of the day, obviously. And if you guys didn't see it, the Ravens beat them in overtime on a punt return. But the Rams lost, Seattle loses, and Arizona didn't play, but they lost too. They lost too. Somehow they lost on their bye week. They lost as well. So I think, again, we can get into what happened in this game. We can get into, who did what. But I think the way you should always look at everything is you should look at it as the 49ers have shown you that they can win one of these games where things aren't going their way, when there's injuries. I guess the focus now after this game turns to, is Javon Hargrave, Mooney Ward, are they injured for a while? What's that going to look like? There's no good time to have injuries, but it is the Arizona Cardinals next week. But there are plenty of things to talk about that are positive. I mean, Javon Kinlaw was great in this game. I love to see that, right? I think Diamador Lenore being pressed outside, I think he did well. I mean, did anybody see DK Metcalf outside of what happened at the end of the game? He was incredibly frustrated. Ambry Thomas as well, too. Ambry Thomas played that touchdown pass about as good as you could have played it. I don't know if he could have been in better position. That's one where you kind of just tip your cap. And if you had to do again, you would do again in that same position 9 more times. And that one time is the one time that it got through him. So you look on the back end, you look at it on the back end, right? And we always had wondered, well, if Mooney Ward loses extended time or he's out, what does this look like? Well, I think this was a perfect like thrown into the fire test, because it was two things. It was Steve Wilks had to kind of rip up his original game plan, which was going to have Mooney Ward follow DK Metcalf and kind of just check that off his list. And then also, how do you pivot while you're there? And then Ambry Thomas and Diamador Lenore, when you're pressing the duty, how do you look? Shout out to Jair Brown as well, too, man. All that missed tackle stuff is really silly. I kept saying it all week. I'll never understand where it came from. The man has missed 3 tackles in 150 snaps, and people were acting like he's whiffing every single time. The kid will be fine. Shout out to him and his ball tracking skills, man. That's exactly what Tig's game is. Head on a swivel, plays fast downhill, is a hitter, and has a nose for the football. I'm not downplaying what happened with Talanoa Hufanga and losing him, but his skill set is so eerily similar to Talanoa Hufanga that it would lend itself to the 49ers still being able to operate on defense and still be able to not change anything too drastically and let the kid learn on the fly. Shout out to Tig, man. Shout out to Tig. All right, let's see. Keith, Ayuk fumble kept the game closer than it should have. Absolutely, but that's going to happen as well, too. I believe today, Ayuk, Samuel, Kittle, all 40-yard catches in the same game. We're going to talk about Brock Purdy, too, right? Played pretty well, I think, right? Even though things weren't going so well early on. Gammon Brown, this is the stream where you belong. Like and sub. Shout out to Gammon. Shout out to the Mod Squad. Shout out to everybody in here. Almost 180 people in here. About to be 10 minutes. Shout out to Nick Mullins leading a comeback drive against the Las Vegas Raiders. I mean, for the culture, the Raiders should have just thrown Jimmy G in there. I mean, I don't understand. It's 0-0. Aiden O'Connell's not doing anything. You get Jimmy Garoppolo in there to face Nick Mullins. Like, it's just, this league does not operate on vibes the way that it should. Because if I was the head coach, if I was Antonio Pierce, hey, O'Connell, sit down. Mullins is in there. Let's get Jimmy in there. Let's at least make this thing interesting, because people watched that entire game and saw 3 points. 3 points. 3 in an NFL football game. Today, there were 2 games that had gone to halftime 0-0, and that hadn't happened in I don't even know how many years. And we had 2 today. Houston and the Jets, and the Raiders and the Vikings. What? Football. Insane day, right? Let's see. Keith said, let's see. Come on, I don't know why this isn't working. Sorry, guys. Wilkes came in known for his secondary, living up to the rep 100%. And TIE Fighter Ty, love that name. Jair had a couple of misses, played well overall. I think Tig is fine, man. I think he's doing fine. He's doing fine. And again, his skill set lends itself to them playing the same exact way that they wanted to when Hufanga was there because they play fast. The ball just finds them. That's his second interception in 4 games already. And he hits hard. They're going to be fine. San Francisco 49ers are 10-3, though. Let's talk about that. Brock Purdy, 300 something yards today. And early on in this game, the ball was not as accurate in the intermediate areas. So at halftime, it's funny. You have the long pass to Deebo Samuel. We're going to talk about Deebo too because he's just on an insane stretch right now. He has a long pass to Deebo Samuel, but he's 0 for 3 in that intermediate right to the middle side of the field at halftime. And those are gimmies. Those are absolute gimmies, right? Especially with the way that Brock Purdy's been playing. But they weren't there. So what happens, right? And we always talk about Brock Purdy and say, listen, it never feels too big. It feels like he's always going to figure it out. And that's, again, what you want to see. And it ties back into what we talked about early on. And what I said early on in the show is that you have to find a way to win games when things aren't going well, right? You have the 72-yard run by McCaffrey. You have the touchdown from Jordan Mason right there, 2 plays. And this one feels like, all right, 49ers are about to boat race. And then Seattle goes right back down and they score again. I think that Ambry Thomas was in the perfect position. I think, again, if you do it 9 more times and he's in that position, it probably goes in the 49ers' favor more often than not. But now it's 7-7. And then it's 10-7. And you have the interception. And the throws that you have been hitting aren't there. So for me, there were a lot of people waiting for those type of moments so they could say, aha, see, there he goes. He's not being accurate. But then what does Brock do? He hits Deebo on the long pass. He's literally back to getting the ball to Ayuk, who seemed like he was wide open all game this game. The George Kittle touchdown, just operating this offense again and always just feeling calm. Always just feeling calm. So again, another great game for Brock Purdy. You have the 1 interception. That's fine. I think that brings his total up to 6 on the season. But he throws a touchdown pass to Deebo, to Kittle. Should have had one to Ayuk probably. But hey, Brock Purdy played a very good game as well too. Deebo Samuel. I remember 2021. I remember it. Everyone does. I've been watching the 49ers for a long time. I can't remember a season, and got to remember, I'm not that old, so don't try to put me in a box here. There was a season where Jerry Rice scored 22 touchdowns in 12 games, and that's probably your biggest in the backpack season, maybe in 49ers history. But I don't remember with my own eyes watching a player be able to carry a team the way that Deebo Samuel does. And I said all week that I felt that Deebo Samuel is the heartbeat of the offense. They go as he does. Christian McCaffrey is somebody who is a matchup nightmare and who can do whatever you want, is a Swiss Army knife. But this team, this is Deebo's team. They follow him. They follow his physicality. They follow him, his swagger. He's been unbelievable. To see Deebo Samuel run a route right past Jamal Adams and streaking for a touchdown, in which, a lot of people talk about Deebo doesn't have speed, but his acceleration is still insane, right? Like, it's still there. The juice is still there. And he talked at length about how he was disappointed with his last year. And I think we all could say that as well too. But to hear a player say that, it's kind of refreshing because you don't generally get that. You get a player saying, listen, some things I kind of tweaked, but he was very disappointed with how he played. He looks completely different. He looks like that guy from 2001. It's just the gravity, the dynamic of the offense, everything kind of relies on him. And if you look at it, we are in our 40s, Jason. Not yet for me, man. I'm one more year away. Don't do that, Anthony. But and not that there's anything wrong with 40. I'm sure you look great. I mean, when I turn 40, I'm not gonna all of a sudden, turn into Mr. Magoo, right? Like I'm gonna look great. But I think that Deebo being there, the gravity, the way this team gravitates around him, the way they rally behind him, and you could see in the 3 games that he wasn't there that this offense was either looking for a play or they had lost that edge. That's what Deebo Samuel brings. That's why Deebo Samuel is so valuable. Aside from all of the touchdowns and everything else that he does, that's the things that I'm talking about. It is literally a team that follows behind him, a team that rallies around him, a team that embodies everything that he brings. And when he's on the field, the entire team plays in that fashion. And that's why they have a little bit more confidence. The Mr. Magoo reference makes you, good call, Matt. Man, you guys are cooking me. What did I do? I thought we won. Good God. Brian Boucher says, was a weird game because he missed 4 or 5 throws that he just doesn't, and he had a career high. It is, right? And again, box score, right? look at the box score and you're like, my God, 300 something. Wow. Like he must have been lighting it up. Yeah. The beginning of this game felt weird. And it's going to be interesting to go back and look at it on tape because there's a lot of discussion about whether the interception's on him, whether it's on Ayuk. I think it might be a little bit of both, but it's hard to say right off the bat with the initial watch on the broadcast, right? I don't like to make sweeping statements until I get a chance to watch the film, watch it again, and then really try to get there. So shout out to Wolf Life Wild for the donation. Niner Gang, mad fire emojis. I love it. Now, to what you guys are here for and what you really want to talk about. Mitch Wishnowsky. Okay, so the Mitch Wishnowsky fake punt, that was absolutely not 100% a fake punt. Like, they didn't call that. There was no way that Kyle Shanahan went in there and said, we're running a fake punt. That was Mitch. That was Mitch getting the ball, seeing the grass, knowing they played rugby, and just said, I'm going. I am going. And that's how you know, right? And it's kind of funny because in week one, he had that run against Pittsburgh, and I kind of felt like, hey, is Mitch about to make a move on this guy? He's sneaky fast, sneaky athletic. I thought it was funny. It was obvious. Ronnie Bell slipped, and that's what negated the play. So I don't want Ronnie Bell to catch any strays and say it was his fault. It was clearly something that is a penalty in the rule book, but it wasn't at all like he did that on purpose, unfortunately. But man, was that funny. That was really, really funny. I just, and you know what's funny? Is I sit there and Jesse says that's my punt here, Jay. What's funny about it is anytime Mitch does anything, I'm just like, I'm just waiting. Like, I'm just waiting. Like, I'm like, you know what? I mean, as long as he's doing something good, I don't care. But at that moment, I felt that it was kind of funny because a lot of people call for, like, that's Seattle's bag, like the fake punt and pulling out those plays, right? Like, to see it happen and then to see him get 30 and then to see that wiped off, it kind of was a bummer, man. But I thought that was I thought that was really just a funny play. And I know that we have a lot of fun around here with our special teamers, but I have to say, and I'll say it again, and I've said it a bunch of times, Mitch has been great punting the football today, and it would have been really cool to see him get that done. But I knew you guys were here to hear that, so you got it. You got your clip. You got it. But I think the way that you're looking at this game now after that it's over is what's the injury status on Hargrave? What's it look like for Mooney? Mooney looked like he was standing around. Don't know if that's good or bad. Obviously he couldn't play even though he was trying. Hargrave leaving makes me a little bit more concerned because we are dealing with the Armstead injury already, and now it's Armstead and Hargrave. I think you could lose one, but you probably can't lose both for extended periods of time. So it's going to be interesting to see what Kyle Shanahan says about that. He'll probably say, "Hey, we've got to see." Hargrave's got a shoulder, which I like to think he has two shoulders, but that's the way kind of coaches describe these injuries, right? Armstead has a knee. Yeah, he's got two knees actually. Like it's just funny how it gets described. But you got to figure out now what's going on with Mooney. Is it going to be something that's long term? Those groin injuries are kind of tricky. With Hargrave, how long will it be combined with Armstead being out? How do you overcome that? And the injury to Greenlaw seems like it was fine. He got right back out there at this point, and then we'll see about we will see about who's the other one that left the game or Burford was out already in this game. So so yeah, all right, there we go. Hargrave had a hamstring. There you go. Okay, so they said Hargrave went back in. Okay. So again, I guess Kyle's gonna speak in a few minutes, but the only thing that we can really now look at going forward and think about is like, okay, obviously the Arizona Cardinals are there. You don't want to let down, but what's this injury situation like, and what is it going to be going forward? Is it going to be serious? Is it going to be something that's just a 1 or 2 week thing? And can the 49ers navigate it with a game against the Arizona Cardinals next week? And then, the big one against the Baltimore Ravens, who beat the Los Angeles Rams in a thriller on a walk-off punt, which, man, I got to say, I, I know we hate the Rams around here, but my goodness, man, they have found ways to be in games and win games this entire season, and I think we do need to give credit to Sean McVay. And Stafford's been playing a lot of really good football this year, man. And Puka's a dog, man. What a catch he made on one of those throws from Stafford. So, um, you know, hopefully the next time the 49ers see the Rams, it'll be obviously in a game that they don't need or won't matter for seeding. But I think the worst news of today is for me to tell you this, and we'll get to this real quick, and that's Yosef El Bebe. Y'all smash the like button like we smash the like button like we did them birds. Not enough likes, show. Appreciate that. Guys, likes help a ton. They help a ton getting the content scene and helping the channel grow. And we built such a cool community here. Just hit that like button. That's all you got to do. But The really, really, really bad news is this. In 1 hour, we will all be Dallas Cowboys fans. I want to puke literally getting those words out of my mouth. I literally do. Like, I want to know if there is a way, if we could possibly contact someone in New York who works for the NFL, if there's a way for not a tie, for the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles to lose. How do we figure that out? How do we figure out making the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles lose at the same time? How do we do that? I think that's something that we should put in front of the rules committee. And that's probably the big new rule change. Everyone's asking about the tush push. I'm asking about how do you make teams lose together? Both of them, the Eagles and the Cowboys. Is there a way? How do we do it? What's the parameters around it? I'm going to start the cause. Maybe we should take to Twitter and we should start that. But I do really, really, really feel sick knowing that I'm about to go watch. I'm about to go watch them play, and I am going to sit there and hope that Dak Prescott throws touchdowns and CeeDee Lamb catches touchdowns and Tony Pollard scores touchdowns and Micah Parsons gets sacks. I'm going to puke. I'm literally going to puke. I think the only way that I can get through this is if I just drink massive amounts of alcohol. I mean, it's just, yeah, just for 3 hours, Jason. It's tough, but it's helping our Niners. Yes, I know, for the greater good, guys, right? Like we in life as adults, we have to do many things that we don't like, right? In the morning, we have to get up for work. We have to, throw out the trash. We have to mow the lawn, right? We got to. This is one of those things. It's just something that I never would have thought I ever would have like seen as a 49er fan. Actively rooting for the Dallas Cowboys makes me physically ill. But we have to do it, and it's for the greater good. And it's just for one game. That's it. After that, we can go right back. Unfortunately, I will say this, if this is going to scare you a little bit more. You root for the Dallas Cowboys this week, and then you root for the Seattle Seahawks next week? What the hell's going on in the world? San Francisco 49ers are rolling and winning games, but here we are actively rooting in back-to-back weeks for Dallas and Seattle. This is hard business. It could be worse, guys. Obviously, I'm obviously just joking, but yeah, absolutely right. You get your win against Arizona, you play Baltimore, you just want to continue the winning ways. If the Philadelphia Eagles lose, the San Francisco 49ers are in the driver's seat for the number one seed, and they hold their destiny in their hands. I think that's an amazing feeling, especially considering the 3-game losing streak that they were on. And when things really look bleak, it really looked bleak. Look at where you're at right now when this team gets rolling again, right? And Aloha Smitty says, I'm getting out the cognac and cowboy hat now. Not the cognac. Now you know it's going to be. See, me, I'm probably just going to go straight for tequila. I'm going to just, drink tequila until it starts to make sense in my brain and I just forget what I'm doing. I would imagine the place that I'm going to is going to have a lot of Cowboys fans and they're going to be rooting for them, which is also another horrible feeling. But it is what it is. Again, you have to do what you have to do. So for the guys that for the people that just got here, ladies and gentlemen, 24 minutes in, almost 200 people. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell for when we go live. The San Francisco 49ers win 28-16 and have beaten the Seattle Seahawks 5 times in a row. There's a new big dog in town. If you didn't like how it felt when the 49ers were getting dominated by the Seattle Seahawks, imagine how the Seahawks feel right now. Imagine how DK Metcalf feels right now. Pete Carroll has never lost 4 straight games as the coach of the Seattle Seahawks. That changed today because of the San Francisco 49ers. Whew, man. What a win. I love this feeling. It's so much easier to come onto these things and talk with you guys when the team is rolling in the way that they are. Again, if you missed what I was talking about earlier, and I think my overarching thoughts on this game is the 49ers found a way to win a game in which things weren't going the way that they always do when they win games. Meaning, not the avalanche, not them rolling and beating people up and just destroying people. It's a little wonky at times. You had injuries, you had fumbles, you had interceptions, but you found a way to get it done. That is the way that you win football games. And that is the way things go at times in the NFL. And you just have to prove to everyone that you can win those games that way and that you aren't a front runner and that you don't need everything to go perfectly, that you are mentally tough and you wanted to win one of those grimy games. I would say this one and I would say this game and Tampa Bay's game are the 2 games that you could point to and say the San Francisco 49ers won a game when things weren't going well. And I forgot, Dakin 25, thank you. And Mitch Wishnowsky was today's MVP. Not Brock Purdy, not Deebo Samuel, not Nick Bosa, not Jair Brown, not Fred Warner. Mitch Wishnowsky for a punt that was a fake punt that didn't even count. But yeah, look, we're having fun. Obviously, we're making jokes here, but yeah, those are my overarching takes. Remember, guys, like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell for when we go live. Tomorrow, sprint right option. Tuesday, we'll probably set up a call-in show. Good God, words are hard when you do live streams. We'll set up a call-in show for the Spicy Squad and the channel. So make sure you're in there so we can talk about whatever it is that you want to talk about on Tuesday. Wednesday, State of the Franchise with Brad Graham. You know we're going to be talking about a lot of things, and those shows tend to go 2 and 3 hours. Trying to find out a way to fill in a Thursday show. Friday, sprint right option. We're right back in the saddle against the Arizona Cardinals. Right now, the 49ers are rolling 10-3. If I'm not mistaken, one more win seals the division, if I'm not mistaken. So we could be celebrating the NFC West Championship. So I would advise everybody, because I'm going to predict the 49ers win over the Arizona Cardinals. Bring in a adult beverage. Let's have some fun, and let's enjoy another playoff berth under Kyle Shanahan. So shout out to everybody in here. Shout out to everybody who pulled up, like the channel, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Shout out to the community, the Spicy Squad, all the moderators, everybody whose name I see in here all the time. Shout out to all you guys, man. I'm gonna get out of here because I have to take a shower before I feel dirty, right? Rooting for the Dallas Cowboys. So I'm gonna get that done first before I head out. But for Jay, enjoy the win, enjoy the rest of your day, football, enjoy the rest of your time, because it is 4:30 on the West Coast, which makes no sense. It's already 7:30 here, and it's dark and it's cold. But enjoy the win, enjoy your time, enjoy the rest of your football. And as always, go Niners. See you. Welcome, everybody. Let's go Niners. My name is Jason Aponte.